Hello folks, well a very good morning to you on this rather overcast, windy but dry at the moment Monday morning. Well, I'm on my way down to my local BMW dealer, that's the Mansell collection, to try out this brand new R1300GS. If you've got a GS 1250 like my one here and you're wondering what is all the fuss about, or if you're after a KTM or a Ducati and you're maybe not old enough to go on the GS, well, stick around and this initial ride video might just give you some indication of what BMW's new R1300GS is like. So let's crack on. So it is going to be a race against time because I don't want to take the bike out if it's going to be smashing it down with rain, and the forecast is in the next few hours for it to be chucking it down. So, and hopefully the bike will be okay for me to take out. So let's find out. Right, fingers crossed I can take the bike out, so let's go and have a look. Whoa. So the good news is the bike is here, so nobody's taken out as yet. So let's go and find Tony or Darren and see if we can take it out for an hour. So bosh, let's go and do that now. So folks, here we go. This is the R1300 and that is my old 1250GS. Well, I say old, it's actually just over 12 months old, 2022 model, put lots of stuff on it. So let's go from that one to this one, the R1300GS. So here we go folks, this is just going to be my initial thoughts on the new R1300GS. So I'd say this is a little bit taller than my one at the moment, so without further ado, let's start it up. It sounds like a GS but it doesn't, if that makes sense. Right, so I think what we'll do is let's go for a little bit of a ride whilst it's dry. So my initial thoughts, and as I pull away from the dealer, initial thoughts are, yeah, it feels different to mine. I think the handlebars are a bit too low for me, but that's something that could obviously be adjusted. In fact, whilst I'm just getting used to it, let's just talk about the bike itself. And I've already done a video. If you want to click on the card up here somewhere, that's a walk around video of this bike in the showroom. I put that up there last week, I think it is. So that's got a lot more detailed information in it. So this is just going to be basically my initial thoughts from the first ride of this video. Right then, so that's a very nice Porsche, yellow Porsche. So I've been on the bike now for about 20 minutes or so. So just dialed myself in a little bit, just getting used to the new feeling of the new GS. So again, this is only a quick ride of about an hour or so, just to give my initial thoughts about this new bike. So my bike, the 1250GS, if you don't know, I've had that for over a year, brand new from the Mansell collection where this is being demoed from. Absolutely love it to bits. I sort of know a lot about the GS, taken it to bits, taken all the fairings off to put lights and stuff on, so I pretty much, other than taking the engine bits, I pretty much know the GS, so I think I'm qualified to give some opinion of this one. So this is a brand new bike from the ground up. BMW started with a fresh, clean bit of paper. So this bike then, let's just talk about the engine. So it's a 1300cc. I think the old one was a 1254, I think it was. The old one pushed out about 136 horsepower and 143 newton meters of torque. This one with the 1300cc is pushing out 145 horsepower and about 149 newton meters of torque. So it's got more power to it. Big thing about the engine then is that on my bike the gearbox was at the back of the bike, so making the bike longer. So this bike is, the gearbox is on the bottom of the engine, so making the engine shorter, and obviously the weight is being kept low down as well. Let's go around to the left, low down as well. So it's an all new engine, and putting that 145 horsepower to the back tyre is a new drive shaft system, and that new drive shaft system is all suspended from a new suspension system which is called the Evo power lever suspension system. And the front suspension, it's just a bit of an upgrade really to my GS. So we've got the new engine, we've got the new suspension, the Evo suspension at the front and the back. And then how's the engine mounted in the bike? Well, we've got a new frame, so we've got a sheet metal construction type frame So there's no tubes in sight, and then at the back where I'm sitting we've got a new subframe, again no tubes in sight. So it's I think it's an aluminium subframe. So yeah, BMW have done away with the tubes. The seat is new, so yeah, so we've got this new seat. BMW, they've done away with being able to have a high and a low seat position, and indeed they've done away with the low suspension as well. So basically your seat is what you get. So the seat is 850 millimeters from the ground, is 850 millimeters tall. So that's the main technical bits out of the way. From a comfort point of view, as I said earlier, I'm 5'9", 32-inch leg, and the bike certainly feels like you sit on the bike, whereas my GS feels like I sit in the bike. I certainly feel like I'm much higher on this, but from a comfort point of view, yeah, my legs, yeah, everything seems alright actually. Still feels very much like a GS, but I'm not sure how comfortable that seat's going to be on a long trip. Mine just seems to be a little bit softer, but sometimes firmer is better, so time will tell on that one. But yeah, it seems to be quite a nice place to be. The engine does sound different to my GS, seems a little bit more whiny from the gearbox maybe, I don't know. And then you still get the noise coming up through the front forks here, because I'm not sure if the clutch is at the front, but yeah, the old GS, yeah, that noise coming up the fork tube, so that sort of noise is still there, but it is just slightly different to the shift cam 1250 noise. Switch gear, it's pretty much what you expect from BMW. Obviously we haven't got the power button in here, that's now on the instrument cluster on the right hand side, and then yeah, it's very much as you'd expect on the old GS's, shall we say. Sadly it's not backlit, and I don't know why they've done that, absolutely no idea at all. So yeah, go and check out my other video that I did in the showroom. Again, it's in a card up there somewhere. So this is the triple black, so it's got a few little bits and bobs on it. So let's very quickly just cover the range of these new R1300. So they come in four flavours. You get a white one, then you get the blue and white one, which is the trophy, and then the black one. They're about 16.8, and that's the base models. And then you get the top of the range Tramontana, the green one, and that's just over 18 grand. So with the three lower spec models, the white one, the blue and white one, and the black one, then they come with as standard, you've got cruise control, you've got heated grips, you've got tyre pressure monitoring system, and then you've also got 4 riding modes. You've got Eco, Rain, Road and Enduro. So that's the three sort of the cheaper packages, shall we call it. And then if you want to just up spec that and go for the TE models, which will cost you about another £2,475, then you get thrown in for those. You just get the electronic suspension, and then you get the extra riding modes. You get the dynamic mode, dynamic pro or programmable, that's what that means, and then you get the Enduro Pro. But on the Tramontana, even on the base model, you've got all of that stuff on there anyway, and I think the Tramontana to go TE spec is about another 800 quid. So I think most people will go for the TE model to get the electronic suspension and then the extra riding modes as well. So let's just concentrate on the riding of the bike then. It is windy as anything today, a very nice view. So the new 1300cc engine, so the gearbox is now on the underside of the bike, or the engine. And how have I found it so far with the quick shifter? Yeah, that's something you also get with the T model, is the quick shifter. So this bike has done about 116 miles, so everything's still a little bit tight, but certainly going to first I just found it a little bit clunky, but it's a brand new engine. And then the quick shifter, I wouldn't say that it's a massive leap over my 1250 first through to second. Yeah, still a little bit jolty. It's a new gearbox though. It might be a little bit better than mine, but it's not a huge improvement. But what I will say is you just can hear a little bit of a whine, I think, from the gearbox. In relation to the engine, again, this is a demo bike. I can't thrash it. I don't want to thrash it. I can only take it up to 5,000 revs. It's supposed to have a lot more low down grunt. I'm in road mode at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I don't notice a massive difference. The bike does feel a bit tighter. If you guys want to know who've got 1250s, or if you're looking at maybe going into the BMW market and you've been looking at the KTMs and the Ducati V4s, should you be looking at the BMW? So what I've done, I've put it into Dynamic Pro, so that's going to firm all the suspension up. So let's just see what it goes like. I will say the bike does feel tighter than mine. That's something I've been critical of in the past. I wish it, when you're on it, it does feel like it could do with stiffening up if you're a bit of a keen sports rider, but this bike certainly feels tighter. The quick shifter, it's a new bike, 116 miles. It's not a million times better than mine, and my quick shifter is not particularly brilliant. Clutch feels nice and light, hydraulic clutch. Brakes feel good, and again this has got the sports brake package, which are the Brembo brakes with the red BMW written on the calipers. But the whole bike does actually feel stiffer. Certainly does feel stiffer. Engine sounds different. It almost doesn't sound like a BMW, if that sort of makes sense. It's got more of a whine to it. And one thing I have noticed, there's nobody behind me, but if you stand up, look down, the pots, I don't know if you can see that, the pots are almost in line with each other. This one's just slightly towards me on the right, but not as staggered as my 1250. But I have to say, it certainly feels a lot tighter and not sort of as twitchy. But yeah, it does feel tighter. Would it be worth me chopping mine in for this? We'll have to talk about that at the end. So this bike has got the fancy electronic screen, and whilst I've been riding along this main road, I haven't felt a breath of wind over my helmet at all. So the screen is certainly better than my bike. They've obviously sorted the aerodynamics out, and these you've got these wind deflectors here which you can see through, so if you're off-road, if you're like standing up and stuff, you can look through there. That's quite nice. I like that. Yeah, that's good. And in relation to the electronics packages, where you can get shed loads of electronics packages, so this is the TE model, and it's got the electronic windscreen. You've got they've changed the buttons a little bit, but if you've got a BMW, it won't be too unfamiliar to you. So you've got basically a multi-function button here on the left hand side, so you can allocate certain functions to that. So at the moment the dealership have got these rocker buttons allocated to the screen, so if I push that up, then you see down there the sign for the screen comes up, and then the screen comes up, and it is a very, very effective screen. Very effective. I don't think you want to muck about with getting any aftermarket screens. Yeah, that's pretty good. And to come down, you might get some more noise coming from that, but yeah, pretty effective. And you can also get tinted screens and all that kind of stuff from BMW. So you can go into the menu, and then you can just allocate this rocker switch to anything in there. So you've got active cruise control, heating, and at the moment the black dot next to windscreen means that this rocker switch has been allocated to the use of the windscreen. So you've got the standard 6.5 inch TFT, which we all know and love. Brakes are nice, I do like the brakes. Clutch, very light. Quick shifter. There's a bit of a pause actually to it on the way down. Yeah, it's all right. It's still not brilliant, but maybe a little bit better than the previous 1250, I think. But what I will say is the bike certainly feels, yeah, it just feels a lot smaller. I think this is the main thing I've noticed so far on the video. What I'll take away is the bike doesn't feel like a big GS. You know, it's when you're on the gas and then off the gas, it doesn't sort of flex at all really. I guess that's down to the new frame and the aluminium subframe, so it feels a lot tighter. So it's certainly, if you've got a bit of a sports head on your head, then I think you're going to enjoy this, because it certainly is. Yeah, it's certainly flickable, and you just can't feel any flex in it at all. And the tyre wise, it's got the Metzeler Tourance Next 2 tyres, which I've got on my GS 1250, and they're a really good tyre. So in the UK, I think that is the standard tyre I believe that they're going to come with. So this is one of my favourite routes then, so let's just see how the bike handles through here. So we're on Dynamic Pro, roads are dry. Yeah, it does feel tighter, definitely feels tighter through here. It's not flexing as much. Oh, I love this bit of road, a little bit of a wobble there, but it does feel good. Yeah, that quick shifter a little bit pausey on the way up. Yeah, the brakes are really nice. It does handle better than mine, if I'm being sadly, if I'm being honest, it handles better than mine, which is what one would expect. It's certainly a lot tighter. It's still got that sort of noise coming up through the fork stanchions there, which if you've got a BMW you know what I mean. Tank wise, tank feels nice, although this is just a standard model, not the GSA, whenever that's going to come out. It really is comfortable. I didn't think I'd be impressed with the seat, but I've been on the bike now for about an hour. Fine. Comfort wise, it feels like it's a similar seating position to my GS, but maybe you just feel like you're on the bike rather than down in it on my GS. I think if you've got that, you want something with a bit of excitement, I think this is going to give it to you. So I've just stopped for a minute just to adjust the camera. What I've noticed is that if you're in neutral, pull the clutch into first gear, it's almost like quite a long pause actually, so obviously there's some kind of connection there, but it is a long pause to get into first gear, obviously with the new gearbox. Anyway, let's go through some twisties. First through to second, it still jumps like the old one, so I don't think it might be a little bit better, but it's not brilliant. What they've nailed is the whole chassis. Yeah, it's a lot firmer. So it does hustle quite nicely through the bends. So we've got this adaptive cruise control, so it's got a radar on it. We've heard about the radar before. So let's put the cruise control on. So set it 28 miles an hour. I've got 2 blobs of distance, so let's just see if it follows that. Even go around the corner, will it pick it up? So set it to 36 miles an hour. And it should, when that slows down, the bike should slow down as well. I should be able to change gear as well. Yeah. Yeah, nice smooth gearbox. And then as the car slows down, the bike should slow down as well. So there we go, it's slowing down. But I am covering the brakes just in case. So very clever tech. So through the twisties, very nice. Certainly a massive improvement over my 1250 GS. I think we're just going to go back to the dealership now, back to the Mansell collection, park the bike side by side and have a quick look over it. But what else can I tell you? Well, in relation to fuel range, this has got a fuel range of this is a 19 litre tank now, so it's reduced in capacity by 1 litre. Mine was 20 litres. I think mine was good for 263 miles apparently on paper. This is good for about 247, I think 247 miles. If I'm wrong, I'll amend it up here. But yeah, it's okay. And for accessories, well, you can throw the kitchen sink at these bikes, different option packs, etc, etc. I don't think anybody is going to get the basic model. I think you're going to go for the T model to get the electronic suspension and the extra riding modes lobbed in as well. So I think that's what people are going to do, and then choose whether you want fancy brakes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, real nice real nice machine. Yeah, kind of, I suppose. Am I blown away by it? I really like the fact that you can hustle it, and it doesn't flex. It's not like your flexible friend like the 1250GS. Yeah, I suppose the question, would I get one? Well, we'll answer that when I get back to the dealership. It just feels a lot smaller. It feels like you're on what can I say, it feels like you're on, it certainly doesn't feel like you're on a 1250GS. Absolutely no way at all. They've sort of brought it down a size, if that makes sense. Yeah, you don't feel like you're on a big 1250GS, and if you're into your off-roading, I think you'd be more tempted to go and give the gravel road a bit of a go rather than on your, you know, your big GS, not the GSA, but your standard big GS compared to this. So I think that's where they're the takeaway points. That takeaway points, that sounds very posh, doesn't it? Yeah, they're going to be my takeaway points from this. Just made it more sporty, so it's going to appeal to the younger market, not the old farts like me at 57. I think they might have just reduced their target range from like mid 40s down to sort of the, I don't know, into the 30s now, I suppose. So that means they might be selling more of them. But it's certainly, from a handling point of view, it's an improvement. I can't deny that. Gearbox, yeah, the quick shifter, yeah, it's still not perfect. I don't want to sort of pee on anybody's fireworks, but it's not perfect. Maybe with a few more miles on the engine it will bed in a bit nicer. But first through the second, yeah, still clunky. I'm glad I've got the heated seats and the heated handlebar grips on. They are lovely. So nearly back at the dealer then. So what am I going to take away from this then as we approach my lovely BMW dealer? Well, it's certainly, we've said it a couple of times already, it's certainly tighter. It's got a more sporty aspect to it now, definitely. It feels a lot smaller than the GS, and it's 12 kilos lighter. So this is 236 kilos, mine's 248, 249. I'm on tippy toes, so it might just sit a little bit higher, and I've got a 32-inch seam, so I can't flat foot it. You can get the adaptive ride height if you want to get that. So the standard height is 850 millimeters, and if you get the adaptive ride height, then that'll drop it down 30 mil to 820. I think as you come to a stop, it just drops it down. So if you're vertically challenged, because you can't get the lowered suspension for it, so they don't do that. And even the seat, you can't adjust the seat height from 850. On my one, I could go higher or lower. You can't do that now, but you can get a high seat and a low seat. And once you've got it, that's it. You can't change the position of it, and you can get different pegs and all that kind of stuff, so you can adjust it to get the right ergonomics on the bike. So here we are then at the Mansell collection. My bike's still there, and this old bike here, look at that, that's the forerunner to all of this, the R1300GS, and that's done about 100,000 miles, that one, I think, something like that. So there's mine. So what do I think? Well, let's switch it off and have a quick chat. Bosh. Well, there we go. My old girl, the 1250GS, that's a year old. And then the new boy on the block, new kid on the block, the R1300GS. Very quickly then, this is the triple black, the T model. And you can just see we've got the new engine down here, 1300cc engine. It's all on my previous video, go and check it out. But it's all covered in this Teflon frying pan kind of finish. So the front of the engine as well, it's all got that finish. We've got the sheet steel metal frame which the engine is bolted into, so that's all new, so not a tube inside. And then we've got the aluminium rear subframe again with this kind of frying pan finish as well, so that's all light. Exhaust sounded all right. But you can get the over and under shotgun exhaust if you want to. And what else is there? Brakes, yeah, we've got the Brembo brakes with BMW branding on it. Really like the electric windshield, that's really good actually, it's a standard one. Wind deflectors work really well, nice. Built-in turn indicators, and if you want to go off-road you can get rid of that and you can have them down here just like my GS somewhere. So it's nice. Like the shape of the tank was nice, seated position was good. Not sure the durability of this rubbery kind of stuff, but felt really comfortable actually, really comfy, all nice. And then you've got the mounting system for your panniers, and I'm surprised that there's not a spring-loaded flap that they could have up here, because somebody's got sticky fingers, then yeah, they might come along and have a bit of fun with you and they might disappear, who knows. So maybe a spring-loaded flap would have been better on there. Indicator wise, yes, we've got done away with the main backlight. We've got the multi-function indicators, not a great fan of those. Got the rear radar unit there, which all works with the adaptive cruise control, which is on here. So if you haven't got, I think all the bikes have got this here, and if you've got the version without the radar, then your screen will come down and cover this up, because you can't retrofit the radar. So you can see here the screen just finishes short of the radar, so that's how you know this has got the active radar. Got the new matrix light, that's sort of growing on me really, that's all right. What else is there to say about it? Yeah, the engine was okay. You've got a new square box section kind of centre stand down there. What else? Yeah, comfortable. It's all right. I should have come back to the workshop and got them to roll the handlebars slightly forward, but there we go. Yeah, and then you've got the new rear shaft drive, and it's covered in that Tefal frying pan stuff, so that should be really quite durable actually. Certainly easier to keep clean without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely going to be easier to keep clean, yeah, compared to my one. So yeah, there you have it. That is the new R1300GS. Oh, one thing before I go, the USB-C thing down here, that is a faff to get a charging plug in there, absolute faff, because it's at 90 degrees. So I'm not a fan of that one, but I guess once it's in there for life kind of thing. But yeah, I couldn't manage to insert one in there to charge my GoPro. Anyway, that would be a negative, bit of a faff for that. But you have got over here a charging port there as well. Just thought I'd add that in. So I've got to say a big shout out to the folks and Tony at the Mansell Collection for allowing me to take out their demo R1300GS triple black with all the bits on it. There we go. This is let's have a look. This is a 1988 Bumblebee R100GS with nearly 100,000 miles on the clock. So we've got the old daddy and the new kid on the block. Very impressive. And then we have my GS. Now how is this going to feel? This is going to be interesting. How is this going to feel compared to what I've just ridden? Straight away I feel like I'm sat in the bike. And I've got an SC Project exhaust on this, and it's been hill topped as well, so yeah, I still like this bike. I still like this bike. Yeah, definitely on the 1300 you're higher up, definitely, and the whole bike feels a lot smaller. Obviously it's 13 or 12 kilos lighter. But folks, if you're an existing 1250GS shift cam owner, would you change, or would I change? And the answer to that would be, I'd have to say no at this moment in time. Never say never, but for the gain that I would get from a sporty kind of viewpoint, I just don't think it would be worth my while changing up. But that's not to say I didn't like the 1300. I did. I love the screen. I liked how tight the frame was with that new main frame and the subframe. Go on, madam, with your little doggy. Handled really well. I think it would definitely out-handle this flexible bike with all the tubes on it. But being brutally honest, I would keep this one. Definitely keep this one. And then I'd be interested to see what the GSA next year, whenever that comes out, is going to look like, because that would be maybe one reason I would upgrade this to the big boy, the GSA, would be the fuel anxiety that sometimes we get when we're away. But as I sit here and now, I would stick with my 1250GS because it suits me and I don't need to spend a lot more money. So I did sort of go onto the configurator just to see how much a triple black with all the bits on that I've got, and it was about 22 grand. So I don't know what I'd get as a Part X for this one, but I don't think I would spend the extra money. So I don't think I'm getting that much more money's worth. But when the GSA comes out, I would more than likely have a serious look at that. So that's it, folks. It might have gone on for a bit longer than 15 minutes. I did want to make it a short sort of initial ride video, but as a GS 1250 owner, yeah, the new one is a lot tighter, feels a lot smaller. You sit on it rather than in it like this one. But I've got to say, I would stick with my 1250, but that's not to say I wouldn't change in the future. That's it, folks. As ever, ride safe, and we'll see you again in the next video. Cheerio for now, take care and ride safe.